Hey guys, how the hell are you? Time for an all-new unbiased gear review on this, the new Revv Northern Mauler. But first, some specs on this unit. This is honestly feeling like it's very solidly built, powder-coated metal enclosure with this awesome screen-printed graphic on the front. We have input, output, center negative 9-volt DC power on here, heavy-duty switch. We've got a power LED, but then we've also got these sort of flickering LEDs that kind of cut in and out with the signal level that's going through. We do have on the amplifier side treble, mid, and bass. On the chainsaw side, we have bite and growl, which controls the treble and the low end of the chainsaw circuit. We have the volume, which is for the unit as a whole. We have a blend control, which basically goes between 100% chainsaw, 100% amplifier, and everything in between. So it's a little bit of fluctuation between them. It's not blending in the HM2, it's going back and forth between them. Something to keep in mind whenever you're demoing this. Another thing that also kind of does the same thing is this giver knob, which, hey, give or take, basically is pushing and pulling the gain saturation between the two sides of this pedal. So as I'm sure you guys know by now from seeing various other media in the form of press releases, little blurbs in like Sweetwater and Guitar Center, as well as various other content that's been created for YouTube, Instagram, etc., this is a collaboration between Revv Amplification and Glenn Fricker from Spectre Media Group. So please bear that in mind. This is a signature pedal, not necessarily for an artist or a guitar player per se, but for an engineer. And that becomes quite clear when you play this thing through a various number of settings, but also when you actually put this thing in a mix. But I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. One thing I do need to let you guys know is that even though I did get sent this from Revv Amplification, thank you so much, I'm sure that those guys wouldn't have it any other way. If I've got any sort of issues, misgivings about a piece of gear, they would expect me to be honest about it. Likewise, I will tell you, I don't have any affiliation with Glenn whatsoever, even though I'm friends with a variety of other guitar YouTubers. I've basically only met Glenn twice, and it was just a quick, hey, how's it going? Let's take a picture, cool, and we kind of moved on. Haven't really spoken to him at length. I don't know him personally, so I don't really have any sort of horse in this race. If this thing sucks, I'm gonna say so. If this thing is awesome, I'm gonna shout it from the mountaintops. Cool, did we get that out of the way? Awesome, let's move on to the tone demo. For the purposes of this tone demo, I'm going to be using this thing in front of a variety of different settings, a variety of different amps and applications, but I'm going to be using my Framus television model loaded with Seymour Duncan Alnico 2 Pros for those warm lows and those crisp, clean highs. Okay, so we are going to be running the Northern Mauler in front of a variety of different applications, the first of which we're going to be running it into the back of the Dover DA50. We're going to be using the Dover as a power amp only, so the presence knob is dimed up pretty high. And this is as a means to show you what this pedal does as a preamp. Because remember, not only is there the Swedish Chainsaw, but over on this side, we've got a custom tuned preamp that's on there. We are starting off with the blend knob dimed so that you can hear this section first. So first of all, this is the clean sound. And as you can hear, doing that, you're still getting a bit of that HM2 EQ in there too. Now let's blend in a little bit more of the HM2 side. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to run the Northern Mauler in front of the Marshall JCM 900, which right now has all of the preamp gain basically dialed out so that we can get a nice clean sound out of it. And so that you guys can see what this thing does in front of basically in front of a clean channel. So the last thing that we're going to do is I'm going to be running the Northern Mauler in front of a Master Effects Marauder pedal. This is a preamp pedal that I've come to really, really love, and the reason why is because it's meant to emulate one of the old school Blue Stripe PV Bandits. Basically, that amp that the original, the OG Swedish Chainsaw tones were kind of built around. So for that reason, I thought it would be really great to maybe run this thing in front of that preamp to see what sort of character it can add to that. So first of all, this is the tone with the Master Effects Marauder going into the Dover DA50 with my normal settings that I use it on. That is the tone that I usually have before I load an HM2 in front of it. So with that, now we're getting some fucking Swedish chainsaw grind happening. So overall, my final thought, like I said at the beginning, I was getting a little bit ahead of myself. Please keep in mind, this is a signature pedal created in collaboration with a recording engineer, a mix engineer, a producer. So this is one of those things that kind of caught me extremely off guard. The first time that I plugged this in, maybe the first few times I plugged this in, I did not like it because I was like, man, this is sounding really weird in the room. Kind of the same thing that I always used to say about PV5150s back in the day. Yeah, cool, it's been awesome on a variety of classic records, but me playing through one of these things, playing it in a room, sounds like ass. And that was kind of how I was feeling about this initially. Playing around with it, I kind of felt like a lot of the knobs weren't really giving me as dramatic of an effect as I wanted it to. And it took me a long time to realize that the giver knob is not a gain knob for the amplifier section. There's already a ton of gain on tap with the amplifier section. Likewise, the blend control is not a blend that brings in the Swedish chainsaw tone that's on this side. What it actually is, both of these knobs are giving and taking from the two sides. So you have to play around with this. You have to find your sweet spot. And I think that's something that Glenn and Revv did on purpose, so that way you can find something that, yeah, it may not sound as awesome the first time you plug into it, but oh, put this thing in front of a variety of different applications, blend them together in a mix, and this thing sounds ridiculous. So that's one of those things where I have to tell you guys, play around with it a lot because it will reward you. But also understand, these two knobs don't function as you first think they should. So you've got to mess around with it. You've got to find what works best for you. But also record with it, do multi-tracking with it, all the way to this side, all the way to that side, maybe a separate track up the middle, try different impulse responses, whatever. Try different amps if you have the available means to do so. But you need to fuss with this in order to really, really appreciate this. Because, man, once you get it into a mix and really see how it's filling in a lot of gaps, how it's sitting sonically in that mix, this thing is incredible for that. But you need to work for it. But Arnold, what are you drinking today? I am so very glad that you asked. I am having from the brewery from Placentia, California, I am having white chocolate, which is a bourbon barrel aged wheat wine ale with cacao nibs and vanilla beans. So I am expecting this to be a desserty treat. Ooh, wow, that is pouring honestly way, way lighter than I expected. It is a wheat wine, so I should have honestly expected that, but I don't know why, man. I was expecting this to be a bit darker. That is definitely a lot lighter. Has a little bit of funk on the aroma. Definitely getting that vanilla. Ooh, getting a lot of vanilla. Not so much the cacao, though. Ooh, a lot of the cacao on the flavor, though. Oh, that's interesting and awesome. So, a lot of cacao, a lot of vanilla coming forth, a little teeny tiny bit of like an espresso note. Definitely a wheat wine. It's got that sort of same barley wine kind of thing where it's a little funky, it's a little strong, brick in the face kind of thing. It is a higher ABV if I remember reading right. Yeah, 14%er on this. But oh man, if you like sort of barley wine and wheat wine kind of beers and you want something that's interesting as well as boozy, this is a really, really awesome option for you. I'm enjoying this quite a bit. White chocolate from the brewery. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please remember to like this video, subscribe to this channel. There's tons more of this content to come. And always remember, take what you do seriously, but do not take yourselves too seriously.